Hello and welcome. Today we're covering ISO 11669, Guidance for Managing Translation Projects. ISO 11669 helps clients and language service providers define project specifications clearly. Think of it as a practical playbook for successful translation projects. It standardizes how we capture the key details: purpose, audience, content characteristics, deadlines, and budget. It also addresses risks and quality expectations from the start. Throughout this guide, we'll use plain language and practical steps. You'll see how to plan, execute, review, and deliver translations that meet agreed requirements. Who is this for? Clients who commission translations and want consistent outcomes. Language service providers who set up reliable processes. Project managers who align scope, resources, and timelines. Translators and editors who need clear briefs and style guidance. Reviewers who check terminology and quality before delivery. And quality managers who ensure consistency across projects. ISO 11669 is about clarity and alignment. When specifications are clear, teams deliver with confidence. It reduces misunderstandings and rework. It improves turnaround and consistency. And it makes quality measurable, not subjective. The standard promotes shared expectations. Everyone understands their role in the translation process. Why is this important? Because translation quality depends on clear inputs and controlled processes. You can't guess the purpose, or assume the audience, or improvise terminology. High quality comes from agreed specs and repeatable steps. That's what ISO 11669 provides. A framework for planning and executing translation work. It helps teams capture requirements with confidence and reduce errors caused by vague or missing details. With clear briefs, your data and deliverables are consistent every time. This isn't just about passing an audit. It's about delivering fit-for-purpose translations that protect brand and user experience. The benefits of adopting ISO 11669 are significant. First, it gives your organization credibility. It proves you meet recognized best practice. This can open doors to new clients and markets. It also improves your internal processes. You'll have a clearer, more efficient way of working. This reduces waste and avoids costly rework. Ultimately, it builds a culture of quality in your team. Everyone knows what to do, how to do it, and why it matters. This guide is your first step toward those benefits. By the end, you'll know how to specify a job, align resources, manage terminology, control risks, and verify quality. Let's begin. Here's our method for every topic. Hook plus action steps. Hook, a short phrase that captures the clause or concept, like specify before you translate. Then action steps, numbered tasks to implement the concept on a translation project. Short, clear, memorable. We'll translate standard language into plain English. We'll explain why it matters: risk, quality, and time. Then we list exactly what to do, step by step. Think sticky note hook, then a numbered checklist. Each section follows the same flow. 1. The hook. 2. The meaning in plain words. 3. Action steps for your project team. And 4. Evidence to prove it. The hook anchors attention and sets purpose. It keeps the clause top of mind. Example hook. Specify before you translate. Write it on a sticky note and pin it to the page. Now convert that hook into concrete tasks. Break the work into small, doable actions. No fluff, only what moves the job forward. Complex ideas become simple, trackable steps. That means faster adoption and fewer errors. Next, we clarify the clause in plain English. We restate the requirement so everyone gets it. Why does it exist? Safety, quality, consistency. What does it achieve? Predictable outcomes. Then your numbered action steps appear. 1, 2, 3, each with an owner and due date. These are specific, testable tasks. You can start them immediately. For instance, define inputs, tools, and reviewers. Turn the list into your daily to-do. Finally, ask, what will an auditor look for? This is crucial for passing an audit. We call this the prove list. Evidence to show. Templates and filled examples, records and logs, screenshots or processes in action. Will include sample checklists and templates, plus ideas for what to capture and store. By the end, you'll have a complete toolkit. You'll understand the rules in plain terms, and you'll have a practical plan to follow. Most important, you'll know how to prove it. Let's get started. Let's demystify audits and reviews for translation projects. An audit here means verifying your project followed agreed specifications, scope, process, and quality checks. Auditors or clients confirm that actions match your written procedures and project files. They interview project members, review specifications, term bases, style guides, vendor qualifications, and QA reports. Term bases ensure consistent wording across files. Style guides define voice, formatting, and conventions. QA reports document checks, issues, and fixes. They trace a sample job from request to delivery. Intake, preparation, translation, revision, final verification, and approval. At each step, artifacts show conformity, project specification, term base, style guide, and QA evidence. Stay organized and transparent. Let your records tell the story. Let's begin with the very first step. We start with Clause 4 of the ISO 11669 standard. The hook for this entire section is simple. Know your context. What does this mean? It means you must understand your program's unique translation environment. You can't copy another team's process. Tailor it to your content, tools, and skills. Align the system to your real workflows and risks. It's like scoping a project before you translate. Survey the landscape. Inventory content types and volumes. Note file formats and connectors. Clarify brand voice and style rules. Capture regulatory and client expectations. Map deadlines, release trains, and SLAs. Look inward, capabilities and resources. Assess team skills and roles. List your CAT tools, MT engines and plugins. Check terminology maturity and governance. Gauge reviewer bandwidth and feedback loops. Verify QA methods and test coverage. Look outward, stakeholders and markets. Identify clients and target audiences. Define locales, variants, and reading levels. Consider accessibility and cultural norms. Track competitor and industry practices. Watch legal and data residency constraints. All these factors create your project context. This context is the foundation for everything else. If you miss it, downstream quality will suffer. A strong foundation makes your process relevant and robust. It helps you spot risks and opportunities early. Example: a client mandates a glossary-first workflow. You adapt tooling and checkpoints before kickoff. Be proactive, not reactive. Set yourself up for success from the start. Next, we'll detail internal-external issue mapping, stakeholder requirements, scope, and processes. Let's dig in. Section 2, Clause 4.1, Context Analysis for Translation. Identify the factors that impact project success before work begins. Start with external factors. Target markets and locales, regulations on labeling or claims, client brand and tone rules, technology trends, platforms, formats, connectors, and security expectations. Then consider internal factors: staffing levels, language pairs, subject expertise, and reviewer availability. Approved vendor pools, tools in use, and QA capacity across workflows. Visualize throughput with capacity and SLA dashboards. Map specialization by domain, legal, medical, games, marketing per vendor. Confirm style guides, terminology, TMs, and MT engines required by the client. Use PESTLE to frame external risks and enablers for localization. Political and legal, market entry rules, claims, data residency, economic and technological, budgets, volumes, tooling, and automation shifts. social and environmental, locale sensitivities, sustainability expectations. For internal issues, use SWOT to surface strengths and gaps. Strengths: experienced PMs, mature TMS, robust glossaries. Weaknesses: limited reviewers in niche domains, time zone coverage. Opportunities: new connectors, reuse of assets. Threats: volatile volumes, tight SLAs. Establish a simple process to monitor these issues continuously. Keep PESEL and SWOT boards visible in planning sessions. Document findings in a living register linked to projects. Clients and auditors expect traceability to sources and decisions. Show stakeholder maps, risk logs, and capacity dashboard exports as evidence. Review quarterly and before major launches or scope changes. Capture discussion in management review minutes. Assign owners for each issue and define how it will be monitored. Action step: build your PESEL and SWOT boards and link them to your project plan. Include KPIs like on-time delivery, quality scores, and throughput per locale. This shows you are managing context strategically and sets every translation up to succeed. Section 3, Clause 4.2. Understanding the needs and expectations of interested parties. Now we move to Clause 4.2. This clause identifies who is affected by your translation work. The standard calls them interested parties. These are people, groups, organizations connected to your projects. They include clients, end users, regulators, translators, reviewers, and downstream teams. The public or end users rely on clarity, safety, and accessibility. You need to know who these parties are. Once identified, capture their needs and expectations. What do they want from you? Common needs: accuracy, tone of voice, compliance, accessibility, turnaround, and format. Translators need clear briefs, glossaries, and CAT assets. Reviewers need criteria, checklists, and defect taxonomies. Regulators expect correct legal terms and required labeling. Decide which expectations become mandatory project requirements. Your action step is to create a 2-column table: stakeholder and needs or expectations. Add a third link to evidence column for each need. In stakeholder, list clients, end users, regulators, linguists, reviewers, and downstream teams. Be thorough. In needs, note tone guides, accessibility guidelines, turnaround SLAs, and file formats. Specify acceptance criteria and review cadences. For clients, list approved terminology, tone of voice guide, and turnaround SLAs. For end users, include readability, accessibility tags, and plain language. This table becomes a key document for your system. When project leads or auditors review you, they will ask to see this analysis. They want proof you considered the stakeholders that matter. They will check your list and the mapped requirements, then confirm how you meet them in practice. For example, if regulators require specific labeling, ensure your procedures and templates enforce it. Your documented table and linked evidence show Clause 4.2 is fulfilled. It proves your system is designed to satisfy the people who matter most. Section 4, Clause 4.3, Determining the scope for ISO 11669 style translation engagements. With your context understood, it is time to define the project scope. This is where you set the boundaries of your management system for translation work. This is called the scope. The scope statement is your concise, shared definition of what the project includes and excludes. It clearly defines what is included in your ISO 11669 management system and what is not. It must be very specific. For example, state languages and locales to be covered, such as English US to Spanish MX and French CA. Specify content types and channels, policies, help articles, UI strings, marketing pages. The scope sets project boundaries, deliverables, and acceptance criteria. To determine scope, use your context analysis and stakeholder needs gathered earlier. Consider markets, audiences, regulatory constraints, and quality objectives that apply. List included services, translation, editing, review, terminology, localization testing. Your scope must be appropriate for your resources, tools, and competencies. If you also provide interpreting or DTP, decide whether they are in or out of scope. For ISO 11669, state that the scope applies to translation projects conforming to ISO 11669 guidance. The action step: write a public scope statement template and use it in proposals and kickoffs. This must be a formal, controlled document. It should be clear. It should be concise. It should be unambiguous. Describe languages and locales, content types, channels, inclusions, exclusions, and assumptions. Do not exclude requirements that affect conformity, like terminology use, review steps, or evaluator competence. Your scope statement is a public declaration of what your certification covers. Make it available to clients, regulators, and your internal teams. Auditors will read this first to understand your project boundaries. It is one of the most important documents they will ask for. They will review it to confirm boundaries, deliverables, and responsibilities. Throughout the audit, they will check that you operate within the defined scope. They will verify that the scope is appropriate for your organization and engagements. If your scope includes machine translation with post-editing, say so explicitly. Then the auditor will expect defined roles, quality controls, and evidence for that workflow. A well-defined scope makes audits and projects smooth, predictable, and professional. Section 5. Your translation management system and its processes. Clause 4.4 ties everything together with a process approach. Establish, implement, maintain, and continually improve your translation processes. Do this in line with ISO 11669 requirements for process control and evidence. Think in processes, clear steps that transform inputs into useful outputs. Map the translation flow: intake, analysis, preparation, and terminology. Add translation, revision, review, linguistic QA, final verification, delivery, feedback. For each step, define inputs and outputs so handoffs stay clean. Assign roles and responsibilities. Who does what and when. Define required inputs, expected outputs, and controls for each process. Example inputs: client brief, source files, term base, style guide, reference glossaries. Example outputs: translated files, change logs, QA reports, delivery confirmation. Show how steps interact. Each output feeds the next stage. Handoffs must be traceable from intake to delivery. Translation cannot proceed before preparation and terminology setup are complete. Visual mapping clarifies bottlenecks and improves coordination. Action step: draw your end-to-end translation process map. Create a clear flowchart with stages, roles, and decision points. Highlight main processes and cross-functional interactions. Include CAT tools, machine translation, term base, style guide, and QA tool in your map. Specify resources, owners, and KPIs: throughput, error rates, on-time delivery. This becomes the operating blueprint for your team. During audits, the process map guides the auditor through your system. They look for evidence that processes run as defined. They trace the workflow from request to delivery. For example, follow one job through intake, translation, QA, and handoff. They verify records at each step: preparation notes, revisions, and approvals. The process view helps everyone see the big picture, clearly and consistently. Keep it alive with continuous improvement, not just a pile of documents.